Good evening. This is the Michael Muse Show, and I'm here today with a special guest. I'm here with Patu Loca. She is an extraordinary,
Woo!
yes, she's an extraordinary talk show host and entrepreneur. And just want to let everyone know that um, this is a show where we talk about business, personal development, and entrepreneurship, and definitely Patu when it comes to being a trailblazer in the video streaming and a trailblazer with talk shows and radio shows. She is definitely doing things up on her side of the world. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce to some and definitely introduce to everyone else, Patu Loca.
I'm so excited. And of course, even though for a lot of you viewers, like, oh, no, she didn't. Because I had no idea, because I'm always on the go. I really thought this interview was a radio. So I just worked out, guys, because I'm trying to whip it back to shape. So next time, I swear, I'm going to actually beat myself up and fix myself on point. But how are you doing, Mr. Muse?
I'm doing great, Patu. I just want to question. Want to start off with how did you start your first shows, and what motivated you?
Well, actually, how I ended up starting my first show was that I was watching this hip hop show in Chicago. And when I was watching the show, it was called Front Row Entertainments.
Okay.
And so while watching it, I thought the girl was very beautiful, but she just was so bland with personality. And at the time, I'm like, the host is a black woman, a real black woman. And when I say real black woman, it's not to, put down any other black woman out there. It's just at that time in the 90s, she was just dark chocolate, natural, beautiful, gorgeous hair. She looked like a sister on a very great high-end show. So that's why I was like, yay, because, when you work in the entertainment business, they try so hard to kind of wash down your ethnicness. So that's, even though that's not a word. So that's why I was like, that's what drew me to it. But I'm like, don't be scared to have your personality. Exactly. I called up the radio, and I called up the show, because you can call and request music videos. And I was like, man, she's a gorgeous, beautiful sister, but where's the personality? And I did not know that I did not fully hang up. So I was just going on and on and on. So the actual producer called me, told me to come on set. So I'm thinking I'm going to meet the lady. And coming to find out, he was like, since you wanted to put her down, how about you do something? See what you got. So I was like, okay, you're watching Front Row. He was like, no. All the sass and mouth and attitude you had on the voicemail, when you thought you hung up, you really didn't. Show that sass. And I was like, damn, put me out in front of all these people at the AT&T broadband building. I'm going to bring it. And from then, I ended up doing hip hop and R&B, where I got to meet Genuine and all the great artists from then. Usher, 112, Janet Jackson, Puff Daddy, Michael Jordan, all of that great stuff, to doing reggae, where I got to meet Sean Paul, Beanie Man, Shaggy, and then started going back to R&B with this artist that they had called Money Coach. And through that, I was like trying to transition, and that's how I ended up doing entertainment. So, of course, when I moved from Chicago to Florida, I was thinking, man, this is a huge different output. What can I do? Because I kept seeing people writing, what happened to her? Where is she? We don't see her anymore. And so that's what I was like, man, I don't want to just disappear. So I was like, let me try internet, because at that time, that's when YouTube was blowing up, personalities, reality of people sharing them. Exactly. But I had no idea that people are like, okay, skip all the other stuff. We want you to continue doing you as you. So I was like, what? Hey, and that's how we come to become Patu Loca.
Well, you know what's ironic? I would like everyone to know that's how I met Patu. When I first started learning Google Hangouts, and a young lady, I want to give a shout out to her name is Roxy Firestone. And
hey, Roxy!
Hope you out there watching. And while I was learning from Roxy how to use and navigate Google Hangouts, she had a show on Google Hangouts with Patu.
Well, actually, to tell you the truth, Roxy had that show way before me. That show, when I actually got in contact with her, I was like, I blew my mind. And then to do those segments with her once a week with Michael was
Melodic
even
Mike, yes.
Melodic Mike. So now you guys like, oh, she knows him, like, because I called him Michael. But yeah, so that's what I was like, oh my goodness. Hey, Roxy.
So yeah, so I noticed you've made several transitions with your internet radio and streaming. So I noticed you went from Google Hangouts and you went to explain me the different platforms you went to and why you made different choices.
Well, the reason that I did so many different platforms, it was more of the sense of then and still now. You have a lot of people, like I'm a huge internet person. So if I'm watching television or anything, it's through my internet. I watch Hulu, I watch Netflix. I watch that way more than I actually watch physical real TV.
Okay.
So that's what I was thinking. For me, a person like me who's a huge YouTuber I don't have a favorite show. I have favorite people that I watch on YouTube that actually subscribe and I watch all their videos. So I was like, okay, so I got to I have to saturate the market of YouTube. Then when Google bought YouTube, I'm like, so now instead of me doing a video and uploading it, I just do one stop in Google, flood it through YouTube, bam. Then I was like, okay, you know what? For them days where I'm going to these concerts and I actually have the opportunity to meet whatever artist, let me go back to doing radio. And because of this program, I was able to record even off my cell phone from any location, anywhere around the world. So I was like, perfect. And the great thing about radio compared to internet TV was that I don't have to look all divalicious. My voice sounds sexy enough. They're like, oh, okay.
Yes, it is. Yes. So I know you've used different platforms. I know you use Spreaker, and what's the other ones you've used?
I use Spreaker. I use YouTube. I use, of course, I use Facebook because a lot of people sleep on Facebook. I use Instagram. I use any and every social media. I even use VK, that is like a Europe version, meaning like Russia and stuff like that version of Facebook. Okay. I use Magente, which is an all Latin. Like, I even put myself in countries I don't even speak the language.
Oh man! And
But that's what you have to do sometimes.
Now, do you actually get any viewers when you actually go to those countries that you don't speak the language? Do they actually watch your show too or listen?
You know what the crazy funny thing is? A lot of the people that watch it, they just love my. I guess they feel like my expressions of my face. Because a lot of them, if they don't speak the language, and a lot of them practice, which is funny, a lot of them actually practice their English with me. So they'll hit me up on Google Hangout. And even though we're using Google Translator, we're able to communicate with each other. We'll type.
Now explain that real quick, because a lot of listeners out here definitely are using different platforms. But explain how the translation works and how you're able to use it to expand your reach.
The good thing about expanding your reach with Google Translator is that if you're speaking with someone that doesn't speak the same language as you, maybe text or anything, except for audio, of course.
Right.
They write what they normally write, and you can go to Google Translator. To me, that's the best one. And Google, everybody has Google. You go to Google Translator, it actually detects the language. Even if the person misspelled the word, it will correct it for you. And you can click whatever language you speak for it to tell you what the person said. And you can type in whatever you want and then hit the translate. And it brings it flushes it from English to whatever language it first detected it was. So that's what I loved about it. Because you get to, I'm like, great.
So what you're saying, Patu, a person who is starting a small base business on the internet, and if they're expanding their reach, and if they're trying to grow a customer base or even do business to business overseas, they don't have to get a translator. They can use Google Translator and they can actually communicate and do what they need to do to transact business.
No, they definitely can. But because we're talking about business, from a business standpoint, the best thing to do is get in contact with an actual translator. Because I do know a lot of people in the business industry, when writing contracts or anything, they'll write it and they'll have the person translate it completely for them, or they'll write it with the original language they've written it in, and translate it through the language they want it to be written in, and have the person guide it to the direction it needs to go. Because what a lot of people need to keep in mind is when you're doing any translation from one language to the next, there's certain words and certain context that really doesn't exist in other language or other lingos. Exactly. So by having that translator, it helps you put out the message and what you're trying, your agenda. And it also makes it seem like, okay, this person knows what they're saying. I could tell they didn't just write something, translated it, and send it. Now, in the sense of chatting, yes, translating, Google Translate is perfect. But that, just in case somebody want to send out a blueprint plan and say, Patu, no, make sure you get a translator. They're your best friends.
So like you said, it's a perfect platform if you just do an initial talk, or if you just want to chat. It's perfect for that.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Now, let's talk about your show, the Get Inside Me show. That is a show. Just the title itself, it's intriguing, it's provocative, it's exotic. It's a truly mind bender. A person doesn't know exactly where you're coming from. So I want to give all the viewers out there a chance to really get it straight from the horse's mouth on what goes on with her show and what she talks about. And so go ahead, Patu, go ahead and run with it.
For a while, I've always wanted to do my own show. And I did do a show before called Loca Chats on Spreaker Radio.
Okay.
But then at the same time, I'm like, I want to go back. I want to get back to internet. But at the time when I was getting ready to get into internet, I met this gentleman. I can't believe I forgot his name. He's the one who had me meet Roxy.
Okay.
Roxy Firestone, which I ended up doing appearances every Thursdays when it was about relationships and things like that. So that was great. In that, I ended up, it was just so crazy because she was like, have you ever thought of doing your own show and things? I'm like, well, yeah, I always wanted to go back. And she was like, well, come up with a name, think of a name. But at the time I already had a name. Because I was like, I need a name that will catch people to be like, what the hell? And everybody, and since I always do like these sexy photos, they're going to automatically think, oh my gosh. And, especially on the Roxy Firestone show, they're going to think, oh my goodness, she is going to talk about like, rated R stuff.
Exactly, right. So
when Roxy was like, what is the name? I'm like, she's going to laugh so hard. She's going to think I'm just, trying to be funny, not taking it seriously. So when I told her, I want to call the show the Get Inside Me show. She was like, get inside me. And her face looked dead serious, like, what the hell? But when she went down and got up, she laughed so hard she turned red. So I'm like, okay, that's a better reaction than I thought. So I'm going with it.
Exactly.
The reason I called the show the Get Inside Me show was more of the fact that by it being called the Get Inside Me show, we can talk about anything. We could talk about love, politics, health, things that matter. And the only way you can understand where one person is coming from or what they think, whether you agree with them or not, at the end of the day, they're opening up their mouth and their mind and everything to speak on, hey, this is how I feel. This is what I'm going through. This is what I want to talk about and things. And so that's why I said that's the great thing I love about calling it the Get Inside Me show.
Oh, that is great. Now, how long have you been doing the Get Inside Me show now?
You know what? I've been doing the Get Inside Me show. I'm going to have to check. I have an anniversary coming up, I believe.
Oh, man. That's time for celebration.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, oh my gosh, I didn't even think about that. Because, I never celebrate anniversaries. So, that's a good thing. I never thought of that. Wow.
So what kind of viewer base do you have? I'm gonna assume with the title "Get Inside Me," I'm assuming.
The viewer base that I had in the beginning was mainly Asians and mainly Black people, because I spoke at that time. What was giving me higher ratings on my YouTube channel and getting me more clout on Google Hangouts was the fact that I had a lot of conversation about interracial relationships.
Right.
So a lot of times, especially interracial relationships for all people, but mainly women of color. Because, a lot of times, especially for Black women, but when that huge situation happened with that scientist that said Black women are the most ugliest women on planet, which I was like, okay, really? What pipe are you smoking?
Yeah, that was truly opinion based right there.
Yeah, that right there shot me up to the highest level, because it was like, okay, so so I get, so that's more of the base that I have now. I'm having more of a base of people from like teens to 30s who are mainly about love, relationships, and now I'm becoming more of the ask questions and I answer lady, which is always cool. I love that.
You're becoming the 21st century Ann Landers, huh?
Yeah, except they say I ask Patu, so I'm
exactly.
like, okay,
yeah.
Okay.
And that's, what, I'm glad you mentioned that, because it's so important for women of color to know number one, that they're queens, that they're beautiful, and that there's so many negative things out here that it's sad that we see so much negativity on TV, which downgrades and belittles women of color. So it's good. It's great that you have a platform that women are able to reach out to you, and by me knowing you personally, one thing you're excellent at, if nothing else, you know how to build relationships with people. When it comes to meeting men, women, please listen to Patu. If you want to date, if you want to get married, this is the woman to talk to ask the questions, because she is phenomenal. She is the first woman I know where men have been begging and knocking at her door to marry her. So she has a lot of things to share. So I'm let everybody know, please, ladies, if you're listening, you need to check her show out, get involved, get in on the conversation, because it's going to be informative. It's going to be a breath of fresh air on your perception of relationships and even the perception of yourself.
What I do love most about platforms such as the one you're on, the YouTubes and the Spreakers and things like that. What I love about them is they're not edited. So it's not like it's a situation where you're stuck or forced to have to watch a program that's set up in a society based on how you look, how they're trying to make you become to be, I guess, people friendly, or to kind of how you call it, mind trick people to love you. That's what I love so much about YouTubes and all these people who have these different ways of coming in. It's because they have an opportunity to be themselves.
Exactly.
It's either you take me or you don't, and that's the beauty of it.
So my next question: where are you going? Where are you going now with your show? What direction you headed to?
Well, see, now of course I'm taking a bit of hiatus, because I know a lot of the followers are like, "Excuse me, why are you always on?" And then as soon as you get to that hiatus height, you take a break. It's because life changes, and as you know, I'm excited because I finally went back to school, which was something I've always wanted to do. So I decided, since I want to do international business. And I was thinking, man, it's very hard to find, a good paying career, especially a career that respects your athletes and everything. So that's why I was like, okay, I'm going to go to school. And remember when I called you, I was screaming on the phone.
Exactly.
I decided to get a degree, my second degree.
Your second degree. Woo!
I decided to get my second degree in entrepreneurship.
Whoa! Now I want you to stop right there for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Because I really want to share with everyone, entrepreneurship, especially in this country, is so important right now.
Yes.
With the workforce and with corporations being with so much uncertainty going on right now, the pay structure and just 401k plans with kind of Social Security, people now are looking for ways to secure their family legacy right now. They're trying to make sure when they get to retirement age, and even before retirement age, people want to know what do I need to do so that when I do have children, that they're not going to be, they're not going to go going bankrupt trying to pay for a college education. And right now, women of color in America is the fastest group of entrepreneurs. And
Yes.
Patu really is a trailblazer, and she took it one step further, and a step that she's actually taking classes now. And I just want to ask you, and you doing that, Patu. My question for you is, what motivated you to look at entrepreneurship? Number one, and two, what direction do you want to go with your life, and how do you want to impact the world?
What put me in the direction of entrepreneurship was that a lot of my 9 to 5 always was business. So doing what I love, which was entertainment, for me was something I did to keep my spirit, keep me uplifted, keep me happy. Because at the end of the day, if you can go to a place where it doesn't feel like it's work, it's perfect. But more likely in this type of economy, if you go to a place where it's not something where you go in happy and excited because you're there, whatever you're passionate about, make it your hobby until it becomes no longer a hobby, it becomes your main thing. I decided since my normal 9 to 5 always was surrounded with business, and I'm great at it. I'm great at creating structure, following it, improving it, making it better. So the only best bet for me would to be involved in business. I want to get into international business. Exactly. But the only thing about international business was that at the time I'm thinking, okay, I could always go into international business, but I need a solution and I need something now. If I were to take this international degree and decide to pursue that, it would take 4 years. I don't have 4 years. I need the now. Exactly. So that's why I was like, let me go ahead and take entrepreneurship. But I had no idea, after doing a lot of research and things, that entrepreneurship is actually way above international business, because you're creating a platform, an opportunity, and a structure that you're selling for people to create. Like the owner of Target didn't say, let me create a Target, for example.
Exactly.
Somebody else was like, look, you could have another place like Walmart. There's no difference between Walmart and Target and every other place like it. The only difference is just that person who thought outside the box from those who didn't believe in it because they thought, okay, somebody already did it already. That said, no, this is gonna work, and made it bigger than what it was. So that's what made me decide to go in that field, and mainly for the fact of the economy sucks. It does, and you and I have had a lot of conversations and a lot of like in-depth political, mainly financial, like some real deep conversation that makes some people say, "Oh, so that girl does have a brain in her head." Hell yeah, I do.
Yes, and you're a prime example how it's so important. Do not judge a book by its covers. No. And one of the things, Pat, to me, you both agree on. We definitely. It's so important that people really look at wherever their passion is. And when they look at wherever their passion is, and they can actually turn that into their purpose and let that purpose drive them forward, it would definitely bring the money forward. Because
yes, it definitely will.
Because it's like I say, we are living in a state of economy where people are hurting. And when it comes to this country here, the middle class, for a big part, has been cut well under half at this point in time, and the wages have not gone up according to inflation. And so, if you see now, so many things people don't realize. Economics, money is so important. Some people will say real easily, "Oh, money is not everything," but guess what? it ranks right below air. And so it's so important that a person deal with personal development. I think when the more person can deal with themselves on a personal level and get the help that they need to become the better them, be the better person. And as they begin to seek mentorship and find someone who has gone the route and the way that they want to go, that's going to definitely put them in a position where they could be more than they need to be. Because worst thing in this life, if all your life consists of is eat, sleep, and go to work, and if that's pretty much the context of your life, and
you're not leaving,
and going out and hanging out on Saturday is the highlight of your life, that could be very, very shallow, you know. But it's really time for a lot of people to really look at themselves, look at the economy situation, and really put themselves in position to become an entrepreneur, because truly becoming an entrepreneur is the only way you can even unlock those tax advantages that a corporation has. I mean, a corporation is not paying 30% like the person who works a job. A corporation pays, sometimes 5-6% in taxes. And so it's all about those tax loopholes that they have open to them. So it's so important for that. But Patu, when it comes to you, what's your long-term entrepreneurship?
My long-term entrepreneurship, my actual goal of going into this was that I wanted to set myself up in a way where even when it's all said and done and I'm no longer breathing, I have a empire. An empire empire is up to what you envision an empire is. Empire to some person could be a house, exactly. A car. It could be anything. Because the thing is, it's all about what is you set foot in your lane. I could be doing 30 and someone else is doing 70. My job is not to catch up to you. Because at the end of the day, we're both going to end up at the finish line. Exactly. I got to do what's best for me. So my ultimate goal is to be able to get into real estate, owning property, doing small business franchise, as in little miniature restaurants, like mom and pop little stuff. Be realistic. Being realistic, because a lot of these people who get into business, they do all. You have to keep in mind, yes, you have this much rich people, and this. Well, I can't even get my arms wide enough. Amount of people that can't afford $1 million ticket, exactly, to go eat at your place or to go shop at your place. Be realistic.
Yes, you're exactly right. One of our viewers just commented, and he definitely hit it on the nail. Purpose and passion and purpose, but planning and implementation. And I think planning and implementation really, and I appreciate that, Gerald. That's really critical, because too many people fail to plan because they didn't plan it. They failed because they didn't plan. They didn't plan in the first place. So, Gerald, appreciate that, man. That's a great insight.
You know what, Gerald? Thank you so much for saying that, because it was going to get into what I was saying. The difference between people who are successful and those who are not is that the one that's successful never gives up, even when people do not believe in their thought, their plan, or anything. Exactly. That's why I said that even if your passion is making hot dogs, but it's not selling, at the end of the day, you're giving yourself pleasure. You're giving yourself pride. You're giving yourself something back that you won't get if you were to shut down making hot dogs to working for the man 9 to 5 enslaving. So at the end of the day, you're making a balance to eventually it'll shift to the next level, where you can go from working for the man, putting the little bits and pieces you can in your dreams to make your dreams this much smaller to this big. And people need to remember the power of I am.
That's right. The power of I am.
And that goes right into what Gerald said. Gerald, you know what? If I could, I'd go through the screen and give you a hug and a kiss, Gerald. Because the power of I am, especially if you're a spiritual person, regardless what belief you believe in, the power of I am is when you strongly believe in the ability of the power that you believe in, maybe God, maybe whichever religion you have. You believe in, even when it doesn't even look that great. You think positive, you live positive, you breathe positive. You can think negative all you want. Just do not speak negative. Because when you speak it, you're speaking that existence into your life.
Exactly, yes.
And let me tell you something. Once I started thinking positive, even when it didn't look so great, I can tell you not many people can go from moving from one place where they're in the top of their game to coming from home, doing their own thing that they love to do. I ended up doing my own. I ended up blowing up on Google Hangouts, doing great on YouTube, ended up on the Roxy Show, ended up on Roku TV for the SCBN network. And now I'm picking and choosing like, oh, what I want to do. Going on Spreaker, and now I'm on your show.
Exactly. And like,
that's not just coincidence. That's just understanding the power of I am and the power of the belief that I have, and understanding that everything else can move fast or slow, but just as long as I'm committed to my pace, I have a plan, I'm persistent, I never give up, and keep on improving my craft. There's no stopping me.
And you know what, Patu, is so important for all the viewers to realize that building relationships is important. I mean, it's critical. So many times people.
I'm sorry, could you say that again?
Building relationships are critical.
Oh yes.
You know, and no, like Gerald said, power. There is power. Life and death is in the tongue, and I think too many times people are dealing with some hopeless situations and circumstances. And they let that take over their life, where it starts speaking the power. Like I said, the power I am. I am beautiful. I am smart. I am gorgeous. I am, I am strength. I am powerful. When we start using certain words to build up our affirmation for ourselves, and it
affirmation.
Yes,
you're not only doing that. The beauty of the power of I am. Because one thing I do understand is I do find a lot of Christians are like, oh no, you're taking away the power from God. God made me, right?
Exactly.
So the great I am, I didn't make me. So if I'm saying the great I am, I'm not only speaking about me, I'm speaking about God that's holding on to this spirit, this soul, that's creating the ability to make this body, this flesh that when I die is going to stay here, but the spirit's going to go with him to do everything I need to do. So that's why I said that's everybody needs to have to understand the declare and the decree that you put over your life. Like I'm literally looking at this big hot pink sign that I like, big, huge hot pink sign that I literally make. And every morning I look at this sign and it says, I am. Like I said, I am God's masterpiece. I am favored. I am forgiven. Like I write all of that. Even when the days I'm like, man, I feel like I don't say it, but I'm like, I am God's masterpiece. I am, even if I'm trembling. Because at the end of the day, I may not feel like that in the beginning, but God's going to make sure to bring me somewhere to feel a lot better at night.
Exactly. That is powerful right there. So let me ask you this question then. When the point in time, I'm sure you've had some low points. Of course, with all the different ventures you've done between TV, radio. So what were some of those key points that got you through?
The key points that got me through was that at the end of the day, I had to keep in mind that, because I think where a lot of us fail, especially I could say for me, is that I found myself at times, I see someone else's opportunities and blessings, and I think, me. And I'm deterring myself from realizing, hey, you went from doing all these miniature things, ended up on TMZ. You're doing pretty good for somebody else who's probably looking at you the same way you're looking at that individual. You know, the key to success is be comfortable in you, have the confidence in you, stick to you. Yeah. Don't, even though it's hard, because we live in a competitive world where everybody's talking about who's better than this. You even got people doing butt injections to have a bigger booty than the fake booty. Then it's like ridiculous. But it's like you gotta rise above it. The hardest time in life, it's always great to be positive when you're positive. I'm telling you, it feels like you're getting kicked in the gut when the bad times come, and you gotta keep a smile on your face.
Exactly.
But it brings me back to that biblical story where God told those people when they were when he asked them for 7 days to walk around this huge cement of wall and don't talk. Because he knew if they were to talk, after 2 days, they're like, man, I'm hungry. I want to lay down. And He was like, y'all ain't gonna do like y'all did in Moses. Y'all walk around that in silence. And what happened? The 7th day, everything falls down. So when you're going through some hardship, the only thing you have to do in hardship is remember, it doesn't matter how many times you got knocked down. It's just you need to hurry and get the hell up before somebody else stampedes you over. You know, and then you think about it. If you didn't get this far to be defeated, and I didn't get this far to turn around and walk all the way back. I just can't afford that. I walked too far. So the only choice is to keep moving forward.
And Patu,
that's that inner strength.
I'm glad.
And then you don't want to lose.
That's right.
You don't, and not lose against other people, but you don't want to make yourself feel like, I know I could have done better, but I didn't. Like every time when I say, you know, I'm gonna get myself on a diet, this 6 months go by and I see somebody, I'm like, man, 6 months ago I could have been more healthier.
Exactly.
So then that's when I'm thinking to myself, you know what? Stop talking about it. Actually do it. You know, it's so many negativity is a disease.
Yes, it is, Patu.
Being negative is a disease.
It's a very bad disease.
I'm telling you.
And Patu,
anytime somebody comes to me about anything negative, I am ghost. Mariah Carey ain't got nothing on when I break.
And you know, Patu, going back to the career I am and kind of picking back up what you just said, I definitely understand going through that, because when I was on my deathbed after I had suffered a heart attack, seizure, and kidney failure, I mean, I went through the low times where I felt like my life was meaningless, because at that point I was no longer able to provide for myself. The dreams and things I was doing at the time, all of that got put on hold. And just to kind of fast forward to the point where I had a kidney transplant in 2013, even after I received a transplant, I really had to dig deep on to find out what do I need to do to overcome. Because it's one thing, you know, we take our health to granted so much, where the simple things is just being able to get up out of bed and walking and being able to care for ourselves and bathe ourselves. Something simple as that, I wasn't able to do it for 2 months. And so, and knowing that I had a road of recovery to go through, and even the possibility not being back 100%. And so in my book, I speak on that. And the one thing I had to focus on, I have a chapter in my book, you know, I talk about there's 1,000 things that come our way, but we had to focus on that one concept and that one idea. And for me, I had to focus on my health. I had to really focus on my health, because my mind was 1,000 things coming in my brain. Man, I could try to do this to make money. I could do that. But the number one thing is I need to protect my health. And I just want to give a shout out to everybody, you know, out there, whatever you're doing, whether you work a job, business, whatever, please take care of your health, because it's so important. We only have one body. That's it. And it's so important that we do our best to eat right, exercise, and definitely making sure we're putting positive things on our mind. And that's the reason why my book is called Rise and Burn, because it's all about burning all them negative thoughts and rising above it. So it's so important to burn all them negative thoughts that's getting into our mind, that's seeping in there, where it could be naysayers, people who are dream killers, and being in a negative environment, get out of the negative environments. And it's so important to rise above it. So definitely you need to check out my book, Rise and Burn, because truly it's my story of how God allowed me to overcome. And I truly, truly love to help other people overcome also. So Patu, when it comes to you, Patu, you truly are an overcomer also, because because I've seen you, you know, you have truly made different transitions. And the part about that's important, and it's inspirational, because you never quit. You didn't give up. Like Gerald said, truly, persistence overcomes resistance every time. And that is so, so important, that persistence. And for Patu, I love that persistence from you. I mean, from day one, that you get that grit about you. to keep on going, to keep on going. If this don't work out, it's like you get into the war room, you strategize, and boom, you keep on moving, and that is so important. So Patu, I just want to give you a clap and shout right now.
Well, thank you. Because let me tell you something. At the end of the day, I had to come to the realization because I went through depression of stressing. I went through stresses. I went through all. I'm talking about if I were to sit down and share all the things I went through in life. But every time when I go through those dark moments in life, all I think about is, well, God never gives me more than I can bear. And if I can overcome the last situation,
exactly.
Even though at the time it doesn't look like a piece of cake, I tell myself it's a piece of cake.
Exactly. Yes.
Even though I keep telling myself, then eventually I start going over it. If you think about the fact that yes, your health wasn't doing that great, but now that you know you're a man standing and breathing in perfect health, you already know if I could bounce back from that, everything else, I could blow on that. I got it finished, and that's how it should be. The thing I had to learn when, especially going through some hardship in life, when in doubt, detox your life. Just detox it.
Yes.
Get rid of any and everything sucking everything good out of you. Get rid of it. If it's a negative family member, if it's a negative family member, a negative friend, a negative anything, surround yourself with positivity. I'm talking about, I literally spent 6 months watching nothing but the Disney Channel.
Oh, man.
No cursing, no nothing.
Exactly.
And because I remember this college paper I wrote that spoke about if the person you become is based on what you surround yourself.
Yes,
so I figured if I surround myself in people that don't say anything negative or not seeing only viewing what means something to me, like what's going on with the world. You know, it's crazy on how in this world you find a lot of people crazy about the Kardashians and everything. It's like, did y'all not notice that what happened in France? Like that could just easily be us. They could be practicing at France to get ready for us. Like I need to know what's happening. Exactly. I'm not the kind of person that's going to let the government tell me. I need to do my own research too, because I'm not going to be caught face down, not knowing what happened.
And you know what? Patu, that's so important for people to really. People need to do their own research about, number one, their life. They need to research themselves. Really look at who they are. They need to research their environment. They need to research what their purpose is and what direction, where their passion is at. So definitely, for me, when I realized that after when I was on my deathbed and once I had my transplant, the one thing I continually asked God, what did I go through all that pain for? What did I go through all the trials for? And he let me know before I started writing my book, I need to write this book. I need to have something with someone who's going through something that I'm going through or similar. They could have something to read to overcome and get strength. And it's so important. It's so important that we place ourselves in an environment so we can go from strength to strength. You know, but Patu, you have been a great guest, and Patu, definitely looking forward to working with you in the future, if not near future. And what I want to do right now, I want to give you a chance to kind of give everyone a chance to give information about yourself, how to contact you, how to reach out to you, share about your awesome show, and go ahead, Patu.
Well, of course, as you guys know, my name is Patu Loca. Patu is actually my real name. My parents are from the Caribbean, Haiti, and Cuba. Of course, the show is called the Get Inside Me Show. It's just basically to make people tickle, but to keep in mind that no matter what you want to talk about, maybe anything, we could talk about it. It's not limited because of the name of the title. So that's why I call it the Get Inside Me Show. I used to air every Tuesdays, but I'm in hiatus because I am focusing on making sure I end up on the dean's list from the time I enrolled in this school until I graduate for entrepreneurship. You can catch me, but I still do my one-on-ones with people who actually have questions that want to hit me up. They call me through, the 513 number, or they hit me up on Twitter, or, privately email me on Facebook or Google. where I mainly just, it's like a Ask Patu thing.
Exactly.
You don't have to be ashamed. You don't have to be embarrassed. You can talk about anything you want. Whatever you share with me stays with me. I have people that speak about all varieties of things, from depression to what am I gonna do? I lost my husband, or losing a baby, all types of things. I talk about everything, because at the end of the day, sometimes it doesn't feel like it's helping, but when you speak, you're letting out all of that illness so you can rebuild and start again. So that's basically what I do right now. Patu Loca for the Get Inside Me show. And don't forget to like, follow, and remember, caring is sharing.
That's right.
Patu
Yes.
Loca page. Don't forget Michael Muse and the book too.
That's right. Well, everyone, this has been a great show. Definitely learned a different side of Patu. Operational, just seeing how she just keeps pushing forward and forward, and truly all your dreams and admiration is going to come true for you. And definitely, Patu, I just want to thank you so much. And for anybody out there who would like to get in contact with me, you can get contact with me at michaelmusenow.com, and also at michaelmusenow@gmail.com. And definitely you can catch me on Facebook. Definitely look forward. And also, if you're interested in my book, Rise and Burn, truly, that's my story, my blood, sweat, tears, the 7 years of pain I went through. And definitely come again, same time next week at 9 p.m. every Tuesday night, everyone. You have a great day.
Bye, everybody. Stay blessed.
All right. Patu.
Yes.
Trying to stop the recording.